We headed over to our hockey team, who began their regular season, played the first 3 games, and have a game tonight at home at Climate Pledge Arena. So, Bel, why don't we look at the first 3 games of the 2022 Kraken season?
Yeah, so they kicked it off on October 12th at the Anaheim Ducks. Unfortunately, that was a 5-4 loss in overtime. Player of the game there is Matty Beniers, who had 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, 4 shots, 1 hit, 1 block, and 1 takeaway. Hell of a stat line there. We move on to our October 13th game, where they welcomed the home opener here at Climate Pledge, and that was against the LA Kings, and they won 4-1. Or that wasn't actually. I'm sorry. That was at the LA Kings, and they won 4-1. Player of the game forward Alex Wenberg with 1 goal, 1 point, a 2 plus minus, and 1 shot. And then the home opener on the 15th against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, which was unfortunately a somewhat brutal loss, 5-2. Our player of the game there is Andrew Burakovsky with 2 assists, 2 points, 2 shots, and 1 hit. Unfortunately, Charles missed the opener because we were at that very long, unfortunate Mariners loss. So anything that stood out to you in those first 3 games of the season?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess in the positive light of things, the power play looks great. Power play is a lot better than last year, where it was like, why are we even, power play is supposed to be a man or 2-man advantage. Looked like last year you were playing against more people as opposed to less people on the ice. Power play has been better. The offensive attack has been better. You've got elite finishers like Burakovsky. Matty Beniers looks like Matty Beniers is 19 years old. We talk about Julio. Beniers is 19. That doesn't make me feel great.
That's amazing.
Burakovsky having Bjorkstrand, these elite level finishers on your offense is going to do wonders for you. And I figured it would. Now, the defensive side of things is where the issue is here. You look at that 5-4 loss in overtime in game 1 of the year, just defensive mistakes, not being able to clear the puck properly out of your own D zone, setting your netminder up for failure. And against the Kings, Martin Jones did great, but then against Vegas, kind of the same thing. I know after the overtime loss in Anaheim, there was criticism of Philip Grubauer, and that was a lot of the last year. A lot of people who might not have they don't keep up with the Kraken as much. They don't watch the game as much. They don't maybe pay attention to what we're doing with our coverage. Everything's on Grubauer. You want to blame, he's the scapegoat. In different sports, they're going to be the scapegoats because they're maybe like the main guy, quote unquote. And the goaltender is going to be the main guy in hockey to an extent. A lot of these plays, whenever it happens again, or watch the replays of these games, look at how the other team ends up with the puck. A lot of the times, like I think it was the first one in Anaheim, the Kraken defensemen just kind of were sloppy, and they turned it right over to Anaheim, right in front of our own net, and it just puts Grubauer in a terrible position. Who do you blame there? Do you expect your goalie to make the 99 percentile level save there, or do you just have to look at your defensemen to be able to be better in that position, right? And so, yes, Grubauer has had some saves he needs to make. There's criticisms there. I'm not saying he's perfect. He's the golden child, but you have to look at your defensemen the way that they've been playing. Not been good. And even Justin Schultz, one of the new signees from this past offseason, a veteran defenseman, has said, we've got to be better about not only getting in the penalty box, but just playing as a whole as defenseman, communication, not putting a bunch of guys on one side of the ice, leaving a guy open on the other. It's just been sloppy overall from the defensemen. And there are bright spots, but there's also some stuff like it looks like year one. It looks like year one, and it can't be that way considering that your power play looks a lot better and your offensive skaters look better, knowing that if your defense finds that other gear, right? If we put all the pieces of the puzzle together, this is a playoff team. I really believe that. But you got to be able to put it together. So that's where it is. Defensive things got to, like, it was like the Seahawks in a way. Your defense has got to improve, but your offense looks great. So that's what I'm taking away. Yes, missing the Golden Knights game. Yeah, with the 18 innings and the way it ended, maybe I'm okay with that, but we'll get a big one tonight against Carolina. But let's look at this was something I might have sprung on you that's new, but with how often they played 3 games this past week, they play 4 this upcoming week. With how often they play, kind of similar to baseball and basketball, I figured we should have players of the week. So we're going with players of the week here. Maddie, I mean, come on. The guy has been incredible. We got some team news here, records wise, and I'll let Bel get to that in a minute. But I went with Maddie. I mean, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, tied for the team league and lead in points, 1 power play assist and 7 shots. This guy, I would be hard pressed to think he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. So, yeah, I was pretty amazed with the first 3 games and excited to see what he can continue to do as the season progresses. But not a bad selection on your end with Andre Burakovsky. Why did you go with Andre here?
Stat line as well. Very close to almost a stat line for Maddie Beniers. He has 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, 1 power play goal, 2 power play assists, and 9 shots. So yeah, they're at the top of the leaderboard there for most things, and it felt right to go with him.
Yeah, and that's, with talking about the elite level finishing, Burakovsky is one of those guys, and he showed it. I believe it was in the game against Anaheim, but he might have had another one against the Kings there. So I can only expect good things from Burakovsky. He's a guy that, coming off of winning the Stanley Cup with Colorado, he said he wants to kind of establish himself. He doesn't want to be kind of one of the background guys. He wants to be one of the main guys for this Kraken team, whether it's offensively or as a leader. So I'm excited to see what he does as well as the season progresses. But yes, we will have players of the week going forward for our Kraken here.
Okay. And moving on to some more Maddie Beniers news, as you teased already. On the 15th, Maddie Veneers was named the 7th rookie in league history to record a point in at least 12 of his first 13 career games. Also news on that day, Vince Dunn's assist on Jaden Schwartz's goal is the 100th of his NHL career, and this game marks the 600th played in Jaden Schwartz's career. That's big.
Some milestones. I wanted to, when we don't have stuff that's too big of a story, like we had Drieger's Keepers, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I want to be able to throw in this history stuff because, I know that a lot of the city is still learning hockey, so I wanted to sort of throw some history, some stat lines in there while we can.
I mean, 600 played games.
It's a lot of time on the ice.
Moving on to some league news here, and not very positive news, or I guess you could say it would be positive for Ian Cole, but the defenseman's investigation has officially been closed. Cole was suspended on October 9th, pending results of allegations of sexual abuse and grooming, and the league's investigation included social media, public data, and court records, but they weren't able to come to anything substantial that proved he was guilty. So he has since been reinstated, and the investigation has been closed. Moving on back to our Kraken, their record sits at 1-1-1. Division standing is 3rd in the Pacific. Looking ahead, they have a game on the 17th versus the Carolina Hurricanes, a 7 p.m. puck drop. The 19th versus the St. Louis Blues, another 7 p.m. puck drop. On the 21st at the Colorado Avalanche, a 6 p.m. puck drop, and on the 23rd at the Chicago Blackhawks with an 11 a.m. puck drop. Is that
11-1
the earlier? Yeah.
It's a bit odd. I remember the Kraken played on a Monday last year at 1 o'clock, and I was like, what the hell? I think it was a holiday though. But just to highlight that, we just played Vegas, which Vegas is kind of expected to see a drop in sort of success this year. But Vegas is, they're still, until we can beat them, they're big brother. We're 0 for 5 against them all time. Carolina is a team that went well in the playoffs this past year. We played them tonight. St. Louis won the Stanley Cup a few years ago, and they're still a hard-nosed team. Colorado's the defending Stanley Cup champs, so that's not going to be any easier, and it's in their building. Chicago is an interesting case. So those first 3 games you see on your screen there, they're not going to be easy, but last year the Kraken were able to get up for these big games somehow and win a lot of them. So it'll be really interesting to see this year with an improved power play, with some new faces, Matty Beniers, all that, to see what they're able to do against these good teams, with 2 of them at home here this upcoming week and 1 on the road. So that'll be an interesting week for our Kraken here, and excited to see how they come out with that.